Hey, Determined Destiny family, it's Coach Kevin coming back at you with this week's video for the Determined Destiny family. I want to thank you guys for tuning in and being consistent with being a part of the movement here. I'm calling this a movement because it is truly a movement. I've got 4 schools that I am working with this summer to bring on board for the fall so that they can impact over 400 kids within their districts. And that's a movement right there because if we can impact over 400 kids in next school year so that they are more determined about their destiny and they live a principle centered life, then Determined Destiny is doing exactly what it was designed to do. And I just want to give a big shout out to those school districts, and you know who you are, who are participating and joining the Determined Destiny family so that your kids have an opportunity to learn and grow and be more determined about their destiny. So here's where we are with this week's video. We're going to talk about being faithful to yourself. And this is important because if you're not faithful to yourself, and when I say yourself, I'm talking about your values and your principles. If you're not faithful to yourself when it comes to your values and your principles, then you won't have peace inside. You won't have the morale that you need to be the best you that you can be. If this is your first time tuning in with the Determined Destiny family, I want to say thank you and give you a big high five for tuning in and giving us a little bit of your time. What we do here at Determined Destiny is all about helping our young people be the best that they can be. Determined Destiny is a principle-centered life coaching system designed to equip young people with the power and the knowledge that they need to be more determined about their destiny. That's who we are. That's what we're about. And each week we try to put out a video that helps guide our young people to that. We've got multiple resources that you can tap into on the website at determineddestiny.org. Or if you have not already, I want to encourage you to subscribe to this YouTube channel where you will get content that you need, that you can use to help your young people be more determined about their destiny. Let's jump into this week's conversation around being faithful to yourself. So I had an opportunity over a year ago now, it's been over a year ago now, to participate in a wedding. I was invited to be a part of a wedding. And I had known this guy for many years who's getting married. And you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I would consider us to be close friends. Our birthdays were really close to each other. Our lives have crossed paths in so many different ways at so many different times that I felt like we had a strong bond as friends. And the way that this interaction took place really set me back. It caused me to pause and reflect and think about some things. And it was a difficult moment. So I was asked to participate in a wedding. And, so I knew this guy when he was married to somebody else, right? And our families and our wives did things together. And my wife was a little bothered by the way that he treated his wife. And I'll speed the story up. They end up getting divorced. They end up getting remarried and divorced again. And he was getting ready to marry another lady. And this all happened in a short window of time between the divorce the second time and the remarrying or the marrying of this next lady. And it just didn't sit easy with me. It didn't sit well with me the way that it all happened. And there was another incident that was intertwined in there that I had heard about in terms of the way that he had treated some ladies. And it just didn't sit well with me, right? So when asked to participate in this wedding, I reluctantly said, yeah, I'll participate. And the whole time, this was months of buildup. The whole time I'm feeling really uneasy about participating in this wedding. But we were friends. And so it was probably about 3 or 4 months away from the wedding when I called him up and said, hey, if we can sit down and talk, I really need to sit down and talk with you about the wedding and me participating in the wedding. and he didn't want to sit down and talk, and he just said, what's the problem? What's the problem? And so, we talked through that, and it was real heated discussion. And finally, I said, you know what, I'm going to back out. I don't feel comfortable participating in this wedding, so I'm just going to back out. And I did. I had to stick to my principles on this particular thing because it just didn't sit right with me because of the history that I knew of. And I just couldn't support that. And that was difficult. That was difficult for me, but I had to be faithful to me and what I believed in that moment. And so the reason I'm telling you this story is because I want to encourage our young people to understand the importance of self-integrity and staying true to your principles and your values. Your values are critical in determining who you are as a person and how people will view you and respect you along the way. And that is critical that we establish that foundation and build on that foundation and live that out each and every day so that our morale, our energy to be successful is where it needs to be. So let me reiterate this with a couple of takeaways that I want you to have. First, you got to know your values. You got to know what you value as a person, as a young man. You have to know clearly what you value. So you got to spend some time and thought around that. And so on teams, a lot of times the coach will have talked and collaborated with other coaches and established the team's core values, right? In families, a lot of times families will establish core values. This is who we are as a family. This is how we act as a family. And personally, we have to establish core values of who we are and live those out, right? And then we have to be able to make decisions that are aligned to our values. Because if you don't make decisions that are aligned to your values consistently, then you have to ask yourself, are those really my values? You have to be able to make decisions that are in alignment with our principles that we say we're going to live by, or else we're fooling ourselves. And it's hard to have good energy and the right morale to be successful if we are in conflict with who we think we are, who we say we want to be, and how we actually are acting each and every day. So we got to be real clear about that and make decisions that are aligned with our core values. And then we have to be able to reflect and do some self-reflecting often. And I talk about this a lot, and being able to journal. And I've got my journals here that I use regularly. And that's such an important piece of being successful that I want to really emphasize that the importance of self-reflection and doing that self-reflection in a journal, in deep thought, meditation, however you do that, we have to regularly evaluate our actions and our beliefs to ensure that there is alignment there. I'm going to say that again. We have to regularly evaluate our actions and our beliefs so that we make sure that there's alignment there. Be who you say you want to be, and do the things that you say are important to you. And so in doing that, I want to give a couple of action items. First, what we need to be able to do is write down our values and put those values in a place that we see regularly. When I say write them down, I'm talking about doing something like this. And what I've done here is I wrote down 3 values. I always show respect to others in the way I treat them. Always show respect to others in the way that I treat them. That's a value that's important to me. So I write that down so I can see it. I will work hard at everything I do. That's a value that's important to me. Working hard at everything I do so that people understand that I'm giving my best effort every single time, right? That's a value that's important to me. And then the third value that I wrote down here is I will be generous to others whenever I'm able to be. So I will be generous to others whenever I'm able. And that's a value that's important to me. So I'll put this value sheet up on my wall so that I see it regularly and I'm able to remind myself that These values are important to me. I need to live them out daily. And that can change over time in terms of the values that I want to be front and center may change over time as I'm working in different seasons or phases of life, right? And so I want to encourage you to write those down. That's an action item there. Then I want to talk about being able to reflect on a recent decision that you've made and analyze that decision to see if it's in alignment with your values. I want to challenge you to do that. Reflect on a recent decision that you've made and analyze that decision and see if that decision is in alignment with your values. If it is, great. High five. You're on target. You're doing the things you need to do to be successful. If you've made some decisions that are not in alignment with your values, we have to be able to do some self-reflecting and maybe go back and apologize or fix something, or just know in our minds, I won't make that decision again because that's not in alignment with my values. Hey, I'm Coach Kevin. This is Determined Destiny. We are determined to help our young people live principle-centered lives that help them be more determined about their destiny. If you've heard something that you can grab hold of, that you like, I ask that you hit that like button. If you have not already, hit the subscribe button. Let us know that we're doing good work, that your young man is growing from the work that we're doing here at Determined Destiny. Again, I want to invite you to take a look at the website, determineddestiny.org, or leave some comments and we can connect and conversate that way through this channel. Thank you for being a part of it. We'll see you again soon.